Hello everyone, welcome back to the World Conflict Monitor channel. Please subscribe my channel. In today's video we are going to explore one of the most controversial and widely discussed weapons in modern asymmetric warfare, the Qassam rockets used by Hamas against Israel. This is a story that combines conflict, improvisation, limited resources, and the ongoing cycle of violence in the Middle East. To begin with, let us first summarize the story so far. For decades, Israel and Hamas have been locked in repeated cycles of conflict. Israel, a state with advanced military technology and one of the most sophisticated missile defense systems in the world, faces rockets from Gaza that are rudimentary in design but symbolic in power. Hamas, operating under strict blockades and restrictions, developed the Qassam rockets as a way to strike beyond Gaza and demonstrate resistance. These rockets, though far less effective than conventional military weapons, are built locally with limited resources and have become one of Hamas's primary tools of warfare. This story is not just about engineering or weapons, but about politics, desperation, and the attempt of one side to project strength despite overwhelming odds. When we look at the exterior of the Qassam rocket, the first impression is how simple it appears compared to modern military-grade missiles. The Qassam is essentially a steel tube, often made from locally sourced metal pipes, with stabilizing fins welded onto the bottom to help guide its trajectory. The nose of the rocket usually contains an explosive warhead that varies in size, depending on available materials. Unlike precision weapons used by advanced armies, the Qassam has no guiding system, which is why its accuracy is very low. Its exterior gives away its improvised nature. It is often rough, uneven, and sometimes even inconsistent in size. But this simplicity is part of its effectiveness for Hamas, because it can be produced in hidden workshops inside Gaza without the need for advanced manufacturing plants. The exterior design of the rocket symbolizes resourcefulness in the face of scarcity, relying on whatever raw material can be smuggled, salvaged, or recycled. The interior of the Qassam rocket is equally simple and intentionally so. At its core, the rocket is divided into two major sections: the warhead at the front, which is filled with explosives, and the propulsion system at the rear, which uses a form of solid rocket fuel. The interior does not include complex electronics, targeting systems, or advanced sensors. It is essentially a pipe filled with fuel and explosives, connected by a crude ignition system. This simplicity makes the rocket easy to assemble and replicate under the constraints of Gaza, where access to advanced technology is restricted. When examining the performance of the Qassam rocket, we must recognize that it is not built for precision but for psychological and symbolic impact. Early versions of the Qassam had a range of only a few kilometers, often barely reaching nearby Israeli towns. Over time, Hamas engineers managed to extend the range to 10 kilometers, then 15, and later even up to 20 kilometers or more for advanced versions. Some reports suggest that the most improved variants can reach cities like Ashkelon or even the outskirts of Tel Aviv, although their accuracy remains extremely poor. The explosive payload also varies, with early models carrying less than 10 kilograms of explosives and later models carrying up to 20 or 30 kilograms. Performance is further limited by the fact that the rockets are launched from crude platforms or hidden areas without any advanced aiming systems. While militarily their effectiveness is low, strategically their performance lies in their ability to bypass blockades, create fear, and force Israel to use its Iron Dome defense system, which costs thousands of dollars to intercept each rocket. Safety features are almost non-existent in the Qassam rockets. In fact, they are considered highly unsafe even for the operators who build and launch them. Accidents during manufacturing are frequent, as the explosives and fuels are mixed in unsafe conditions, sometimes in civilian areas or hidden workshops. Misfires are also common, with some rockets exploding prematurely or falling back into Gaza, causing casualties among the local population. From a technical standpoint, there are no safeguards, self-destruct mechanisms, or fail-safe designs. This lack of safety is a major reason why these rockets are considered crude and dangerous, not only to the intended targets but also to those who make and handle them. The unique selling points of the Qassam rocket, from Hamas's perspective, are not about advanced military capability but about symbolism, cost-effectiveness, and accessibility. Unlike imported weapons, the Qassam can be produced locally with limited resources. Its simple design allows rapid manufacturing in hidden workshops, meaning production can continue even under siege conditions. Another unique aspect is the psychological effect. While the rocket may not cause large-scale destruction, the mere sound of a siren in Israeli towns, forcing people into shelters, achieves Hamas's goal of spreading fear and demonstrating resistance. The Qassam is not about matching Israel's military strength but about showing that Hamas can still project power beyond Gaza. It is also significant because of the low cost compared to the defensive measures Israel must employ. A rocket that costs hundreds of dollars to produce can force Israel to spend tens of thousands to intercept. When discussing the price, we cannot talk about it in terms of market value because these rockets are not sold commercially. Instead, the price is measured in terms of resources, effort, and strategic impact. Estimates suggest that a single Qassam rocket costs only a few $100s to produce, depending on materials used. Some reports suggest figures ranging between $300 to $800, a fraction of the cost of advanced military-grade rockets. However, the true cost is broader. The smuggling of materials, the risks of detection, and the human cost of accidents during production. The imbalance becomes more evident when comparing the cost of launching a Qassam to the cost of defending against it with Israel's Iron Dome system, where each interception missile can cost $20,000 or more. This economic asymmetry is part of Hamas's strategy, making the rockets less about destruction and more about draining resources and exerting psychological pressure. In conclusion, the Qassam rocket is not a weapon that can be judged by conventional military standards of accuracy, safety, or performance. Instead, it is a symbol of asymmetric warfare, designed to project power from a position of weakness. Its crude exterior and simple interior reflect the constraints of Gaza, while its limited performance still achieves significant political and psychological impact. The lack of safety features highlights the desperation of those who make and use it, while its unique selling points lie in cost-effectiveness, accessibility, and the ability to disrupt the daily life of those it targets. The price of each rocket is not only measured in dollars but also in the human lives it endangers and the cycle of retaliation it fuels. By understanding the Qassam, we gain insight into the larger dynamics of the Israel-Hamas conflict, where symbolism, resourcefulness, and asymmetry often matter more than pure military might. And with every cycle of rockets and airstrikes, the story continues, raising questions about security, resilience, and the human cost of endless conflict.